What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to go through the best and worst tattoo TikToks I could find. So let's jump into it. Okay, this first one, it's a really simple one. There's not much to talk about. It's just weird looking.
Got my head, you can rub your hand, yeah.
That's it. You see these a lot. You see things like this done all the time, and I'm always like, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it's supposed to be. I don't know why someone wants this dumb black line across their hand. And like, I get that it makes a really interesting video, but it always just makes me go like, why did you put a big dumb black line on your hand? When I see it without the hand, it's pretty cool. It's just like a regular circle tattoo, I guess. But I just never understand why you want these like mark done and you have to like be shirtless and to do this like weird position for it all to make sense. Is there anything wrong with the tattoo? Not at all. Perfectly fine tattoo. It's just weird ideas that I always go, someone's happy with it, I hope, you know? On to the next. Speaking of just dumb, bad tattoos, that just made me happy. There's nothing to really say here other than that is a really hard design and an impossibly awful tattoo. Like, what is that? How did that occur? Yeah, some people should never tattoo, and that is what we're seeing here. I think this is just jump scare bad tattoo for you guys. Yeah, just look at it. I hope it makes you upset. It makes me upset. On to the next. Okay, let me show you a little palette cleanser. This one's done by Dirtbag Chaz. Just clean, solid tattooing. I really love what he did with the barbed wire and the black shading. Like, he brought all the shading in, but he didn't quite touch everywhere. It looks fucking cool. Super solid. I've always been a big fan of this guy's tattooing. Just simple. Simple and straightforward, no bullshit. There's no colors that are like gonna fade in a week. There's no tricks that are just kind of like done for Instagram. No, this is just solid, straightforward, clean tattooing. And like, look at that outline around the heart. Does it get much better than that? Those circles look like super nice and even. Yeah, that's just cool. I get down with it. I'm into it. I'm on it. On to the next. Back to this stuff. This stuff gets extra frustrating for me because like there's no doubt in my mind that not only is this person a great tattooer, but they're also an amazing artist. And there's also no doubt in my mind that if you're that qualified to do a tattoo as amazing as this, you know most of what you're doing is not gonna last very long. There's no doubt. Like, if you're that qualified to do a tattoo this amazing, this clean, this just like aesthetically beautiful, you know that like those light browns and the white gonna fade. So why are you wasting time and skin doing that? Because like eventually what you're gonna be left with is very beautiful, intricate leaves and flowers that are gone. And like I said, there's no doubt in my mind that this tattooer is amazing, way qualified to do beautiful tattoos forever. But why is that mistake being made? Like, where is it happening and why? Is it because this type of tattooing really makes people successful on Instagram? Probably. That's exactly where we see this happening all the time. Like this very fine, delicate tattoos. And people who don't know any better look at this and they go, ah, it's so beautiful. But anyone who does know like any amount of what tattoos look like, know that this is just gonna heal into nothing eventually. It just will fade away and the tattoo will be left kind of there, kind of not there. And that's frustrating for people like me who know that there's gonna be clients out here who seek this type of tattooing out, or they even bring it to us and they're like, this is what I want. And I'm like, why did they use these colors, dude? Why did they put no outline around it? Why is there nothing here, dude? Because like clearly this tattooer knows. Like, that's beautifully executed, but fundamentally wrong. On to the next. A little lighter, guys. A little less me being like, hey, fuck that. Let's talk about this leaf. This is a technique I've seen a lot, and I've actually never tried it. Never attempted it. Had no reason to, I guess. Let's talk about this, because this is a very unique needle. I think a lot of times people try to do stuff like this with a regular mag, and it just doesn't end up looking very good, I would imagine. I've never tried it because I know better. But mags like this, you know, they're flat. They're all flat. And they only have one layer. So with any regular mag, say you get like a 7 mag or a 9 mag, they're double stacked. So you have needles on top of needles in between needles. So it'll look kind of like that, I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain. But when you see people outlining with stuff like this, just be, you know, whatever, 7, 9, something like that, but they'll all just be spaced out. So there won't be anything in between it. That's how you're able to like scrape in a line like that. And it's really cool, but really impractical for most people. Like I don't know almost any scenario where I would want to use this. At least style-wise, it doesn't really work for mine, but it is cool. And it is fun to see because it is such a unique style of tattooing. You could also recreate this look with just like running a single or a tight 3 real fine, you know, just pulling the same lines back and back. But this definitely speeds the whole process up. The hard part of it is keeping the angle right, you know, because like you do anything to that angle and those lines get smaller and smaller and they get tighter. But super cool, into it. Okay, as a tattooer, you guys know my phone is super important to me. And it feels like I can't pick it up without getting a ton of spam phone calls these days. That's because big companies can't keep our data safe. AT&T recently showed that almost all their customer records have been exposed. In fact, over 70 million of their users' social security numbers were leaked onto the dark web. The way I protect myself and my family's data is with today's sponsor, Aura. Aura will alert me if any of my information has been compromised or if anyone tries to use my data to hack my credit or bank account. They also offer a VPN, antivirus, and identity theft insurance, all in one app for an affordable price. Aura not only protects you from these data breaches, but also your entire family. If you want to make sure you're protected, go to Aura/Kirk Fagan Tattoo and try your first 2 weeks for free. Link in the description below. Now back to the video. On to the next.
So Chroma Tattooing gave me their secret formula to fine-tuning my black ink for each skin tone. Their lining black is totally warm, there's no blue in it, so on me it looks fantastic. But on melanated skin, it needs to be darker, otherwise it reads flat. I reached out and they recommended using their permanent blue for yellow-based melanated skin. I put 1 drop per ink cap into the lining black. For red-based melanated skin, I used their indigo blue. Same thing, I put a single drop into an ink cap full of lining black. So on Naomi's skin tone, use the lining black with 1 drop of the permanent blue, because Naomi has a more of a yellow-based melanated skin. So full ink cap of black.
Okay, I'm gonna stop it there because if you're watching this and you're like, well, that's fucking confusing, I feel the same fucking way. I watched this 5 different times and there is no practical, like, there's nothing here. I can't use this. Sometimes I think tattooers get a little too in the weeds with their like things, and this is probably one of those scenarios. Trying to guess what will look the darkest with each tone of skin. I've been in this game a while. There's no fucking way. There's no way. I don't know what the point of this video is, whether it's someone who thinks they know something that actually probably doesn't, or if it's a company trying to promote the idea that you can change blacks. I don't know. I watched this video 5 times. Each time my brain was like doing calculations in my head, like this tone, this melanate. Bruh, show me real evidence. And really, if you think that this is like actually useful for people, give me like a chart or something. But I don't think it is. I just think it's a waste of time. And I think most blacks are just fine for most skin tones. You know, like if we were having a conversation about yellows and what yellow to use between super white and super dark, I'd be like, maybe there's something there. But with black, I'm like, nah, just some confusing garbage. And maybe most tattooers should not only completely ignore this, but clients should for sure ignore this because it is not useful to anybody. Weird stuff. Weird stuff. On to the next. Okay, we've seen her before. Off the top of my head, I'm drawing a blank. She's amazing. She's 106 doing tattoos. So beautiful, super cool. That's not why I stopped it here. Every time I watch this lady tattoo, she's like fucking hammering away, dude. It's so, she goes to town trying to make some dots on this guy's forearm. I am blown away by her strength and ability to smack a tattoo into the skin at 106. That is crazy. Look, if I was in the Philippines again, I would probably get a tattoo by her. But, you know, I'm not in any rush to, because that seems like a pretty painful experience for, you know, it's more you're doing it for the history, right? You got tattooed by an old lady who's been doing it longer than anyone else on earth. It's pretty cool. But man, does she pound that tattoo in. Yeah, that's interesting. Super cool. On to the next. She was asked what her most controversial take is.
Looking ones. They're kind of giving an excuse for scratches to exist in the industry, because then they're good at that stuff, because you don't need to have clean lines. I think that's my controversial take. I think a lot of people hide from that kind of style.
Okay, so she's talking about like scratchy line type of stuff, which I've seen all over the place. I don't think it's bad because people replicate it and then like it's not that hard to do. I really just think it's bad because it's ugly. There's nothing else to it. Every time I look at some scratchy bullshit, I'm like, what the fuck is that scratchy bullshit? Why? I mean, I'm okay with the tattooer who really doesn't care that much about line work. Some of my favorite tattooers, even in traditional, don't care that much about line work. But I think the scratchiness she's talking about is something I can show you right here. This stuff is so popular nowadays. It's everywhere. And every time I see it, I go like, what the fuck is it? What is it supposed to be? Because like, to me, it's just a bunch of like crappy lines, circles and shapes and nothings. A lot of nothings. I don't know. I think this is more or less what that previous girl was talking about. This is the scratchy line thing, and scratchers can do this all day. Just put a 3 in and go to town and leave a sleeve looking like nothing. Who is getting this stuff? Who's spending the time to do it? I just like, every time I see it, I'm like, I know that it's a trendy thing within like, you know, LA, London, New York type of crap, but I don't get it. And it drives me crazy. And I think that's the scratchy stuff that girl was talking about. On to the next. Okay, so this one is done by a guy who teaches people how to make tattoos on TikTok. And I think it's so funny because, well, let me just play it for you.
One of the most difficult things to explain is that when you compare a tattoo machine to a pencil, you're working on the surface with the pencil. But when you have a tattoo machine with a needle in hand, you're not working on the surface, but underneath it. This is something completely unnatural for the untrained, and the feeling for it can only be developed through a lot of experience. It cannot be explained easily because it's an unnatural behavior. It's not logical to draw under a surface, it's illogical. And therefore, you have to practice on artificial skin to get a feel for this unnatural sensation. Ultimately, tattooing isn't about explaining something. Rather, it's about developing a feeling for what works and what doesn't.
Okay, so he pretty much explained to you exactly why I absolutely hate when people try and teach you how to do a tattoo online. He's like, it's impossible to explain. The only way you can understand it is by doing it. And that's where I go, yes, so you're encouraging a bunch of scratchers to go home and attempt to tattoo on people. Because there is only one way to learn how to tattoo, and that's by doing it. Because every time I watch these goddamn TikToks, I'm like, they don't even know what the fuck they're doing. And this guy, who does know how to do a tattoo, is telling you, like, in one video, this is how you do a tattoo, and then in another video is like, it's impossible to learn from a video. Go ahead and tattoo people at your house because you'll never understand it unless you do it like that. That's all we get from here. Because yeah, it is impossible to explain to someone who's never been able to do it. It's like trying to explain how to ride a bike from a video.
I can show you my knowledge in theory, but it's impossible to understand it without trying it yourself and practicing a lot. You have to sit down and do it yourself to develop a feeling for this unnatural tool like a tattoo machine. You can find the whole video in my profile by clicking on the red play button.
So you get my point? Like, he's like telling you it's impossible to learn any other way than to do it on people. And that's exactly what I hate about it, because that just means that there's hundreds and hundreds of scratchers out here just putting shitty tattoos on people. So which one is it? Is it that you can show them how to do it on a video, or you can't, and they should just fuck off on people's skin? I don't know. One thing you're never gonna get from this channel anything I'm ever associated with is a how-to tattoo. I feel for them because they're just making videos. They want to get it like clicks and views and whatever. I get that. But at the same time, I think it's the stupidest thing happening in tattooing right now. Probably. A million other stupid things in tattooing. Okay. Got a couple more.
I'm going to say this, man. This person, they used brushes to do these scales. And that's why at some points the scales look right. And then at some points they trail off and they don't make sense.
Okay, so in case you're not sure what they're talking about here, we're talking about the scales in the snake. And at some point you see them going like straight across when they should be curving and wrapping with the snake. And when he says brushes, when we're drawing on Procreate, this like program we have on our iPad, people create brushes. So you just have to like run your pen along it and it will pretty much put scales or barbed wire or ideas like that into the image. That's all interesting, whatever. It's all cool, great. But that's not what's interesting to me about it. What's really interesting to me about this tattoo is that someone could create such a nice tattoo and be so dumb that they don't understand how scales work. Like the scales on this tattoo are pretty much the easiest part of this tattoo. That's a difficult tattoo, like making the snake go and like do all this wrappy around stuff. That's pretty intricate. It's a great tattoo and they did a good job with it. And then they fuck up the scales and I'm like, how could someone be so good at tattooing and so dumb to not understand how scales work? Cause like those scales are going like clear across, like straight across. Now, why is this the case? Probably because someone studied art, but not tattoo imagery enough. Because anyone who's tattooed snakes enough would eventually get the fact that like, yeah, you want scales to go with it or else they just look wrong. There's not much to learn here. Just that it's crazy that someone's that good at art and that not good at making a tattoo. Kind of fun.
So 3 years ago, I did not have any tattoos. 4 to 5 sessions a week is usually my typical routine, which is crazy. So I often get asked, how do I handle the pain? So I don't use numbing cream, drugs, or alcohol. It's just not sustainable to do this for 5 days in a row, 6 hours a day. Numbing creams do not work well with large.
That is absolutely insane that he just said his typical weekly routine is to get tattooed 4 to 5 times. That's insane. Super crazy. I've never heard of someone being on that type of regimen. I don't know a lot of people in this black and gray type of tattooing stuff. And looking at his stuff, like a lot of it is gonna take a long, long time to finish and complete. But man, 4, 5 days a week getting tattooed? Fuck no. Count me out, dude. I don't want nothing to do with that. I'll be the tattooer. That sounds awesome. I would love to be this guy's tattooer. That tattooer is like fucking paying house mortgages with this dude's tattooing.
Scale projects due to the inconsistencies with healing, but they might do well with smaller tattoos. So most large-scale artists do not recommend using numbing creams. I think certain painkillers do have potential to take away the pain, but it's unsafe and has a high risk of addiction. In my opinion, the best way to get through these sessions is good sleep, good food. And
in my experience, when people take painkillers, they just are high. Like it doesn't really take away the pain too much. It's just they're stoned, you know? Like the same way, like if you get drunk before a tattoo, it doesn't make the tattoo hurt any less. You're just hammered. And like a lot of people are like, well, if I'm gonna go through pain, I might as well be hammered while I do it. And that's like the same thing with pills. It's not numbing the pain. It's just, at least you're going through pain and you're stoned on pills. Maybe it makes it a little bit more of an enjoyable experience. I don't know. That's a crazy regimen. I can't get over the fact that he gets tattooed 4 to 5 times a week. Is that actually true? I'm sure he takes weeks off. Like, let's just be real. Like, that is crazy amount of tattooing. But if it is true, fuck, that's crazy. That's wild. Okay, let's watch this guy.
Here's 5 tattoo ideas that I think are a little played out. But instead of just going in on these tattoos, I'm gonna offer some alternative suggestions just to make them a little bit cooler.
We're just gonna go in on all of them. Fuck it. Ain't no suggestions here.
Here's 5 tattoo ideas that I think are a little played out. But instead of just going in on these tattoos, I'm gonna offer some alternative suggestions just to make them a little bit cooler. Butterflies. There's 2 types of people in this world. Butterflies and moths. Moths are like butterflies' sexy, gothic sister.
I don't feel that way at all. I feel quite the opposite about that, actually. I like butterflies a lot more than I like moths. Not that there's anything really wrong with moths, but I like butterflies. I think they make great tattoos. And if anything, moths are like, I don't know, the fucking Nightmare Before Christmas version of it. I don't know.
Be a mom. Tigers. Why do we only have to choose between a tiger and a lion when there's so many other big cats in the world? I'm gonna raise the bar and get a saber-tooth. Much more badass.
Nothing wrong with the saber-tooth, but nothing wrong with the tiger. Lions, I fucking hate lions. Don't get lions, please. God damn it, don't get lions. But tigers and maybe saber-tooths, maybe they're cool. I don't know. I never thought about getting one. But yeah, tigers. Dude, everyone should have at least 4.
Go without saying, but getting your significant other's name tattooed. If you're gonna be stupid, get something stupid like a key and a lock.
That is stupid. That is dumb. I hate locks and keys. He's not wrong. He's got a point here. But I will say, I'm not suggesting this to you, but personally, I like when people get their significant other's fucking name tattooed on them. Fuck it. Let it run, dude. Make some mistakes. It's better than a lock and key, dude. It's like the king and queen. Those things are so cheesy. It hurts. Just, if you're gonna say something, you might as well just say the damn thing. Get your fucking wife's name tattooed on you. Get your husband's name tattooed on you. Who gives a shit? When it doesn't work out, you just black it out. It's all good. Or put a panther over it. That's all you gotta do.
This one's just a hot take, but I think tramp stamps should come back.
Okay, the hot take, not that into it. I think front tramp stamps should be the only thing anyone ever gets. Okay, on to the next.
Of course, I'm a vegan. So most of my tattoos revolve either around family or revolve around just speaking up for the world.
I'm just gonna leave that one there. There ain't nothing to say about it. I don't know. This world. I think that if you're gonna get tattoos, just get cool stuff. Things that you like. And if that's speaking out for the world, good for you. I like it. Okay, I'll see you in a few days. I appreciate you.